crafty friends, I am Katia with Lunar Sun Creations, and today we are going to be making a fairly simple album. It's a perfect one to use at like craft fairs because the page designs, there's only 2 and they just repeat 3 times. I'm going to show you a few extra little bits and bobs that you can add to it if you don't want all the pages to look exactly the same. But it's perfect because you can kind of make it many of them quite quickly. So they're really good for things like craft fairs and stuff like that where you want to make multiples of something. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly go over the materials and then we'll get right into it. So first, obviously, you will need some black cardstock, or if you prefer, you could do a different color, but some cardstock. Ooh, we're getting a... Hi, you can see me in there. Sorry, I should have taken the plastic off. Anyway, black cardstock, I'm using 8.5 by 11, 80 pound. I think it uses, I didn't count because I was using a lot of my scraps, about 25 sheets. You can use 12 by 12 if you like as well. A paper trimmer, a scoreboard complete with scoring tool and bone folder, some scissors, and some disc magnets. I use 10mm by 1mm. We won't be using too many of them. We'll need a couple brads. So I've just got a whole collection of brads in there. So we'll just need a couple brads for some swing tabs. And optionally, this is not essential, but optionally some distress ink and an ink dauber just to do the edges of the paper. I just like the way that looks. A ruler, some score tape, and wet adhesive. You can just use score tape or just wet adhesive, but I like to use them in conjunction with each other. Tyvek. The Tyvek, we're just going to be using a couple strips of Tyvek just to make our cover. This is the way I like to do it. If you don't have Tyvek, you can certainly make the cover without it and just wrap the entire thing as one big piece. I like to wrap each part separately and then attach them all together. The spine and the front and the back, I like to attach them together with Tyvek. You'll need some chipboard for the covers. And then obviously you will need your pattern paper. I am going to be using my own collection, the Vintage Christmas, so I'm going to be using that, but feel free to use whatever paper collection your little heart desires. Okay, I'm going to get all this out of my way and we're going to get going. Okay, so this is the project we're going to be making today. If you would like a more in-depth view of this album, I will have an entire walkthrough of the album on my YouTube channel. I just wanted to give you an idea so you had at least a bit of an inkling of what we're doing today. But I will link down below in the description box the full walkthrough of this album so you can see it more in-depthly. Okay, so with that being said, let's get started. Okay, so we are going to do 3 signatures. It's going to be 6 pages, 3 signatures, all the same. So you'll need 3 sheets of 8.5 by 11 cardstock. I'm just going to show you one signature, so the 2 different page designs, and then we're going to repeat them. Okay, so we're going to take our 8.5 by 11 sheet and we're going to put it on the 11-inch side into your scoreboard. We are going to score at half, and then at 5 3/4 on the 11-inch side. And that's all we're going to do for that. We're going to put this away, or I'll just move it off to the side for a second because we're going to need it again in a minute. We're going to add some score tape to that 1/2-inch section. And miter the corners. So mitering the corners is just taking off a little bit at an angle just for a cleaner fold. So just from where the score line is to the edge of the paper. Then we're going to take our bone folder and crease our folds. Remove the backing from the score tape. Add a little bit of wet adhesive. I'm using Cosmic Shimmer glue. It's not actually shimmery, it's just it's a nice adhesive that dries clear and is very strong. You can use whatever you like, whatever your favorite is. And then we are just going to close this up to create kind of like in essence, a tube. So there'll be an opening on either end. Okay, so opening on either end, and simplest base page ever. That's it. So make 3 of those. Now we'll get our pieces ready for our first page design. All right, so your A piece is going to be 8.5 inches by 4 3/4 inches. Okay, you'll need 2 B pieces, and they are going to measure 5 1/4 by 9 inches. And you'll need 2 C pieces, and they measure 5 1/8 by 3 1/4 inches. Okay, so we'll get our scoreboard here, starting with the A piece. We're going to score the A at half on the 4 3/4 inch side. That's it for the A. The B's we are going to score on the 9-inch side. We're going to score at half, 5/8, and 4 7/8, all on the 9-inch side. Okay, so a little gusset there and then one line in the center. So we're going to do that to both of our B pieces. So half, 5/8, 4 7/8, all on the 9-inch side. And then your C piece is going to be a little tiny pocket. So we're going to score it at half and 4 5/8 on the 5 1/8 inch side. And then we're going to rotate it and score at half on the 3 1/4 inch side. Okay, so it's going to look like that. So do that to both of the C's. All right, perfect. We can put our scoreboard away for the moment. Now we're going to add score tape to all of the 1/2 inch sections. Okay, so on the C piece, all the way around. Okay, on the B pieces, just the 2 1/2 inch sections. So we're adding the score tape to the valley side, like the indented side of the score line. And then the one line on the A piece. Fantastic. Now we're going to miter the corners. So just the corners where there's score tape. So that's the A. The B's, I'm just going to do the B's together because they're the same. So we're going to be mitering from the first score line that we cut. We're not cutting into that gusset. Okay, so the gusset remains uncut. Okay, and then the 2 little C pockets. And then where the score lines intersect, cut in at an angle and out at an angle. So right to where they intersect, and then kind of turn the paper a little bit so that it's kind of an in-out instead of just opposed to straight across. I just find it's a little thing, but I just find that it makes a cleaner look. Okay, now we are going to use our bone folder to crease all of these score lines. And the last one. Okay, fabulous. Now that they're all creased, we're going to bring in our base page, making sure that the openings are on the left and the right. And we are going to remove the tape backing and add a little bit of wet adhesive. The reason I do this, if in case anyone's wondering, is I'm too impatient for wet adhesive to dry. Like if you just use wet adhesive, it can shift around a little bit on you. So the score tape kind of makes it so that the piece stays put right away and allows the glue time to dry. But if you just use the score tape, I find sometimes it's not quite strong enough. So that's my reasoning, but do as you do. All right, so that is down at the bottom. Now we are going to take our two B pieces, open up the A. We're going to put the two B pieces on the left and the right. And they should meet perfectly in the middle. Okay, open them up, make sure they're down there. Okay, and then the two C pieces are going to go on the inside of the A's. I'm sorry, the B's. Alright, so I'm going to remove the tape backing from the sides first, and then I'm going to push down the bottom part, and it just makes for a smoother channel for your tags to go in there. And don't worry about this writing, we're going to cover that up with pattern paper. Okay, we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to put the A is going to fold first, and then the B-C combos are going to go over top of it like that. Feel free to, you can add a couple magnets going from the backs of the B's to the front of the A if you like. I'm going to wait until I've done all of the page designs and show you everything that I have to show you, and then I'm going to add my magnets with you, and then I'll add my pattern paper, okay? So set this aside for a second, and we're going to get our pieces ready for page 2. I know, we are like already on page 2. All right, for your second page design, you'll need 2 A pieces that measure 7 inches by 10 3/8. You will need 1 B piece that measures 4 1/4 by 4 3/4. Okay, and then there's a couple for each page design, both page designs. I have a couple optional pieces. So I'm going to do the original page design, and then I'm going to show you a couple options that you have to do some different things. All right, so we are going to grab our A pieces, and we are going to score. We're going to score at 1/2 inch and 5/8 of an inch on the 7-inch side. 1/2 and 5/8 on the 7-inch side. And then we're going to rotate it so that those first score lines are at the top of your scoreboard. Okay, they're right here. And we're going to score again at 5 1/8 and 5 1/4. Okay, so it's going to look like that. You've got some intersecting gussets. Okay, so we're going to do that to both of the A pieces. So 1/2 an inch, 5/8 of an inch, rotate so the score lines are at the top, 5 1/8, 5 1/4. Okay, and then the B piece we are going to score at 1/2 on the 4 3/4 inch side. That's it. Okay, so let's put this away again, and we will add score tape to our B piece. Just like that, for the 1/2 inch section. Now, on the 2 A pieces, we're going to add score tape to the 1/2 inch section, but just the bottom half. Okay, so with the 1/2 inch section on the left hand side, we're going to put score tape just on the bottom, and then we're going to cut off this whole top part. Okay, so we're going to cut that whole section off. So I'm going to go right into the second score line, like cutting out the gusset. I'm going to go right to the 5 1/8 inch score line, and then I'm going to cut out at an angle. And then, so this one is cut all the way in to that gusset, and then the other end is just cut to meet the gusset, but not into it. Okay, so we're going to do that with both of our B pieces. And then miter the corners, miter the 2 corners of the B as well. Okay, and then fold and crease all of those lines. Okay, so all 4 of the lines need to be creased. So we're making this little gusset so that it can fit over some other things that are going to go kind of inside, just so it has room to fold over. Okay, now grab our base page again, and we are going to adhere one of these A pieces on the left and one on the right. Okay, so the one on the left-hand side is going to open out towards the left, and then it's going to open up. Okay, and then the one, I'm not sure which side I said. The one on the left-hand side is going to open to the left and up. I hope that's what I said. If that's not what I said, then I've said it again. Anyway, you know what wow, words sometimes are really hard. I hope you got that. Left on the left, right on the right. Okay, so put the other one on the other side, and it will open to the right, and it will also open down. Okay, so you'll have something that looks like that. So one opens that way and up, that way and down. Okay, so that is that. We're going to fold the right one in first. We're going to fold the left one in over top of it, and then we are going to take our B piece And the B is going to go centered top to bottom onto the right A piece. Okay, and it's going to fold over the left piece. Okay, so just like that, and it's got about roughly a ½ inch at the top and roughly a ½ inch at the bottom. So just like that. Okay, so those are your 2-page designs, and we are going to do those 2 more times. Okay, so I've already got my other page designs done. Okay, so I have 3 that all look exactly the same right now. Okay, and now I'm just going to show you a couple alternatives. If you don't want them all to be exactly the same, you can... I always manage to get at least one of my hairs stuck in there somehow. If you want them all to be the same, then perfect. You are ready to put some magnets on and then start decorating. If you would like a couple other options for making the pages just a little bit different, then I'm going to show you that now. Okay, so you're going to have an optional D piece. This is for the first page design. An optional D piece that measures 5 7/8 inches by 5 inches. And 2 optional E pieces that measure 4 1/8 by 5. Okay, so the D we are going to score on the 5 7/8 inch side. We're going to score it at half and at 5/8. Okay, that's the optional D. For the E's, we're going to score at half on the 5-inch side for both of them. Okay, now we're going to put score tape on those 1/2-inch sections. And then we'll miter the corners. Okay, get those out of the way, fold and crease your score lines. Okay. So I'm going to add the D piece to one page and I'll add the E pieces to another page just so they're all a little bit different. Bring you in a little bit. Okay, so if you'd like to use the optional D piece, it is going to go centered onto the base. So you can open everything up. It's going to go at the top of the base and centered right in the middle. Okay, so you can measure it if you like. I'm much more of an eyeballer kind of person, but please feel free to measure exactly if that's how you like to roll. I like to live on the wild side of not measuring. I mean, I measure for some things, but okay, so that looks about good to me. So it's just going to adhere right there. Okay, and everything closes up the same way, and then it closes up over top of the whole shebang. Okay, so that is one optional piece. And let me get the next one here, and I'll show you the optional E's. So the optional E's are going to close over your pockets. Alternatively, if you don't want them over the pockets, they could go on this part, or on this part, or on this part. Or, I mean, really, there's so many variations that you can do. I'm just showing you a couple little extra ways. I do like things to my pockets to be closed, so there's no way that the tags will come out, but yeah, there's a lot of different ways that you could put these on. So I like there to be options. I like things to be slightly different. You know, so you don't get bored as you're looking through it. You're like, oh, this is new. Okay, so there we go. So that is your other option. All right, so now we will do, I'll give you a couple options for the second page design. So for the second page design, we've got a piece that measures 5 inches by 8 inches. And then 2 optional D pieces that measure 4 7/8 by 8.5. Okay, so grab your scoreboard again. The optional C, we are going to score at 4 on the 8-inch side. The optional D's, we're going to score at half, and at 4 5/8 on the 8.5-inch side. Okay, I've actually already scored these, but I'm just to show you. So half and 4 5/8. Add our score tape. And we're not going to add, there's no 1/2-inch sections on the C piece, so we're not going to add any score tape to that. But we are going to miter the corners on our D's. Okay, so for the second page design. The second page design, if you want to use the optional C, we are going to use it instead of the B. Okay? So what we're going to do, because the B would normally be right here, but that's exactly where we're going to put the C. So just a different way to close it. So our C piece is going to meet the edge of our base page. When we rotate it, it's going to meet the left edge, and then that will allow this piece to open. Okay, so we're going to use a brad to do this. All right, so align it so that it is flush with the right edge of the paper, and it's even, like centered top to bottom. We're going to open it up. We're going to place like a pokey tool or a pen or something about 7/8 of an inch in from the left. You can measure it if you so desire. I just kind of play with it until it works, and then you want it to be centered top to bottom. So you're going to hold that in place and rotate your piece, and you want it to, so when it's in this position, you want it to be pretty much flush with the left side of your page. So if it's not, say, because as you move things around, I'll show you, if you're like way over here, then when you move this around, the edge is going to be way over here. Likewise, if you're too close to the left edge of this piece, when you rotate it, it'll go far off the edge over here. Okay, so the sweet spot is about 7/8 of an inch in. So I'm actually going to open this up because we only wanted to go in the bottom portion of this optional C. So just find your sweet spot And just kind of keep rotating it around. Oh, it's like perfect right off the bat. Awesome. So now we're going to punch a hole through this C piece and then through just the top layer of this left A piece. If I can get it up and hold you. So kind of pick it up and kind of, but hold it in place so you get it where you want it to be. Okay, and then we're going to put a brad through that. Now, when we add our pattern paper later on, we're going to have to remove this brad to add the pattern paper. So this is just temporary, just so we know where to put our magnets and such. So see how it's just through the one side of this A piece and not through both of it. Okay, so the bottom layer of the C and the kind of top layer of the, well, I guess bottom layer, depending on how you look at it. Top layer from this side. Anyway, so I think you get the idea. Okay, perfect. Okay, so the optional D pieces, they're going to adhere on the inside of your two A pieces here. Okay, so one is going to go up here. And then the other one is going to go down here. Okay, so when these open like this and like this, you've got this whole massive spread where you could put a whole whack of pictures and kind of like almost, you could even tell a story of an entire day or something. All right, so that all closes up like that. And then like that and like that. How cool is that? Okay, fabulous. All right, now I will go through each and show you where I would put the magnets as things, if you've done all the optional different things. So for just the basic first page design, I think all I would do is to put a magnet on each of the insides going onto the A piece. Okay, so I'm going to do that now. I'm going to add a little bit of score tape somewhere around here on both the left and the right B on the inside here. So two magnets magnetized together, and then another little bit of score tape. And then remove the backing. Close that up. Remove the backing. Okay. And then I would add some a thicker score tape here, just that this just keeps them in place. Okay. Okay, so that's your first page design. Your second one, we've got this flap here. So I would put two little magnets on the corners of this optional D flap going down to the gatefold part. And I mean, this is just what I'm doing. You can do different closures if you so desire. Totally up to you. Cover each of them up. Okay, and I think that's all I would do. I think that's all it needs. Okay, so that is the second option. The third option is the one where we have our extra covers going down over top of our pockets. So in this case, I would add one to each of the pockets. So from the back of each of the optional E pieces. You can add one single magnet to like through the paper here and put a little bit of score tape on it. And then that will make it so that same magnet is working in two ways. So then if you close these, now it's also magnetized to this part. Okay. All right, and my plan is to put a magnetized swing tab here. So feel free to add another couple of magnets going down there, but it's totally up to you. Okay, so those are your options for the first page design. For the second page design, the one that has the optional swing tab rotating thing, here's what I'm going to do for that. I'm going to add a magnet to keep it closed itself. Okay, so there. Now we want to add a magnet on the back side of this. So somewhere around there. Anyone new to album making, when you're adding magnets, you want to make sure there's about a ½ inch of space from the edge of your magnet. And that way you can ensure that your pattern paper will completely cover it and still leave a tiny little border of black showing. Okay, so we are going to close it so that it adheres in this position. All right, so yeah, when we move it out of the way, you've got one magnet there. Okay, but we also want it to adhere or to magnetize when it's in this position. So I'm just going to let another single magnet find its buddy there, put score tape on it again. And now rotate it until it's in its other position. Okay, and now we've got magnets on both sides holding it. Oops. Okay, but we want to make sure that this, we're going to have to add some pattern paper to this, so we're going to have to take the brad out later on, but for now we'll just keep it as is. And I don't think we need anything else on here. I mean, feel free to add any more magnets if you'd like, but I don't see that we need to. Okay, for the second option, I'm literally just going to put a magnet from here to here. Just the one set. I think that'll be enough. So that's that. And then for the final option, where there's the extra bits, I mean, they'll stay closed pretty well on their own. If you want to, you can add a magnet from here, like from this part to here, or we could just do a swing tab. I think I might just do a swing tab there, a magnetized swing tab. So we'll do that when the time comes. So for now, I'm just going to do exactly as I did in the last one and just put one magnet here. Alright, so there are all of our page designs done. So now we can work on our cover.